What's good, MMA fans, and welcome to another episode of Knuckle Game Podcast, where we don't chase headlines, we chase understanding. We're not going to play around with this one because this isn't only an incredible possibility, but for the fans and for the UFC brand, this would be an amazing way for the UFC to offset its financial losses, if any, this year.
Let's get it.
But check this out. Some would ask me, say, LBanger, why now? Why would you bring this up now? Well, let me ask you guys something. Does every great UFC fight have to be for a championship? Because sometimes matchmaking ain't about putting number 3 against number 4. Sometimes you look across the table and you say, who would the people actually want to see fight? And Paddy and Ilia have something you can't manufacture: history. These two have been jawing at each other for years. They've confronted each other, they've insulted each other, they've gone face to face. And even the UFC's own footage of one of their confrontations generated major attention. But here's the difference now. For years, Topuria looked almost untouchable. He went through Alexander Volkanovski, stopped Max Holloway, moved to lightweight and knocked out Charles Oliveira, became a 2-division UFC champion without a professional loss. Then Justin Gaethje happened. Topuria suffered his first professional defeat when Gaethje stopped him after the 4th round. UFC now lists Ilia at 17-1. And guess who else knows something about Justin Gaethje? Paddy Pimblett. Paddy went 5 rounds with Gaethje and lost a decision in his first championship opportunity. UFC itself noted after Gaethje beating Topuria that made Paddy's performance against Justin look considerably better. Think about that. The same man becomes the measuring stick for both fighters. So here's my question. Did Gaethje accidentally make Paddy versus Topuria more interesting? Put that in the comments right now, man. Because I think he did. And there's another reason this fight makes sense. Neither man needs to manufacture a story. The story is already waiting. So let's talk about their star power. Now answer this. How many UFC fighters can sell the fight before the first punch is even thrown? Paddy can. Ilia can. But they do it completely differently. Paddy walks into the room and it's an event. The hair, the walk, the accent, the personality, the crowd. Half the people love him. The other half tune in hoping somebody shuts him up. Ladies and gentlemen, those people bought tickets too. Don't confuse popularity with being liked. In prize fighting, sometimes the man buying a ticket to watch you lose spends the same money as the man buying one to watch you win. Topuria isn't different. Ilia carries himself like he's already seen the ending. That confidence borders on arrogance sometimes. But when you've knocked out Volkanovski, Holloway, Oliveira, I think you're allowed to walk into a room with a little bit more bass in your voice, a little bit more vibrato. So imagine the press conference. Paddy talking, Ilia staring at him. Paddy talking some more, Ilia smiling. British fans losing their minds. That's promotion that you don't have to manufacture. So I'm asking you, who is actually the biggest star right now? Paddy or Topuria? Not the better fighter, We'll get there. I'm asking, who's the bigger attraction? Paddy or Ilia? Put it in the comments, because there is a difference. And that difference becomes extremely important when we talk about where this fight should happen. I'd say, don't put this in an arena. Nah. Here's a question. If you're going to make Paddy versus Topuria, why think small? Where would you guys put it? Me? I'm looking at the UK. I'm looking at a giant outdoor stadium event. I mean, could you imagine Paddy walking out in front of a massive British crowd? The singing, the chanting, everybody on their feet. And then Topuria walks into enemy territory. That's cinema. Now, whether the UFC could actually fill an 80,000 seat stadium would depend on the venue, the card, pricing, timing, and promotion. So I'm not telling you 80,000 tickets are guaranteed. I'm saying this is one of the rare non-title matchups where I'd be willing to test the ceiling. Because Paddy isn't just another British fighter. He's from Liverpool. He's an attraction. And Topuria gives you the perfect antagonist. The UFC wouldn't even have to tell people who they're supposed to cheer for. You'd know the second Ilia walked through the curtain. Boo! Boo! And Ilia would probably enjoy it. And here's the part that people overlook. A stadium changes the stakes. This isn't Paddy traveling to Vegas and fighting another contender. No. Can Paddy Pimblett beat one of the most dangerous fighters alive with his entire country watching? I don't know, man. On the other side, can Ilia Topuria walk into Paddy's house and take all that noise, all that emotion, and silence the building? Now, that's a fight poster. That's a trailer. That's a main event. Tell me, would you buy a ticket to Paddy versus Topuria in the UK? And if you live in America, would this be big enough to make you travel? Because if the answer from enough people is yes, then the UFC, they've got something. But now, none of this matters if the actual fight sucks. And here's the beautiful part. I don't think it would. I don't think it does. Because styles make fights. Now we're getting into the knuckle game of it all. Does Paddy actually have a path to beating Ilia Topuria? Because some of y'all are already typing, LBanger, stop it. Ilia kills him. Well, slow down, homie. Slow down. Let's actually look at the fight. Topuria is dangerous everywhere. We can't deny that. People see the boxing and they forget this man came into MMA with a serious grappling credential. All right? UFC lists Topuria with 7 knockout wins and 8 submission wins. Think about that balance. 7 knockouts, 8 submissions, and 10 first-round finishes. That's not a striker who learned some jiu-jitsu. That's a complete mixed martial artist who developed frightening hands, very frightening hands. And those hands are compact. Ilia doesn't waste much. His punches are short. His combinations are tight. His balance stays under him. And the power travels without him having to throw himself against the cage. That's important against Paddy because Paddy can be hittable. And against Topuria, hittable ain't good. It's a medical condition. But Paddy has an advantage too. He's the bigger man physically. He's long, he's awkward, he's comfortable with scrambling. And most importantly, Paddy he believes that he belongs there. And that matters. Look, he went through adversity against Gaethje, and he kept fighting. And the UFC's own analyst after the fight essentially acknowledged that his performance aged better after Gaethje subsequently stopped Topuria. So Paddy isn't walking in there thinking, oh, I hope I survive this guy. I hope I can survive Ilia. Nah, Paddy is crazy enough to believe I'm going to beat this dude. How will you say that in a British accent? I'm going to beat this mate. And sometimes you need to be a little crazy, man. But here's where I start worrying about Paddy. Paddy's biggest problem. What happens when Paddy discovers he can't bully Ilia Topuria? That's the question. Paddy's size could create interesting grappling situations, but Topuria's base is outstanding. His takedown defense is currently listed by UFC at 95%. That's amazing. So Paddy can't simply say, he's shorter, I'll grab him. Brother. Charles Oliveira couldn't solve him. And Charles Oliveira, he knows a little something about grabbing people. Wouldn't you say so? Look, Topuria knocked Oliveira out in the first round. That's danger. Paddy has to get close enough to establish his game. But entering that pocket puts him directly into Ilia's best weapons. And Paddy sometimes carries his chin higher than I'd like. And against most fighters, you might get away with that. Against Topuria, you're going to close your window, man. So you don't leave your front door open in that neighborhood with Topuria and not expect him to run all through your house, to ramshack your house. But here's the wrinkle, man. We have now seen Topuria lose. And once that happens, opponents just don't watch the tape of your victories anymore. They study the night that somebody made you look human. So here's the question, man. What did Gaethje expose, if anything, that Paddy can actually use? Don't just write chin. Tell me technically, what did you see? Because that's the conversation I want in the comments. And there's something even bigger psychologically. Who has the most to lose? Now, here's a tough one. I need you guys to chime in on this one, man. Who needs this victory more? I think it's Ilia. Hear me out. Paddy loses to Topuria. People say, well, he lost to Topuria. That's not career destruction. Paddy remains popular. He remains marketable. And depending on how he performs, he might actually gain respect. But if Paddy beats Topuria, oh my God, the internet would need maintenance. Because every person who said Paddy was hype would have to explain that one. Paddy beating Topuria instantly changes the conversation around his entire career. You can't call him a manufactured contender anymore. You can't say he never beat anybody elite. You can't dismiss him as just a personality. He beat Ilia Topuria, period. Now flip it. If Ilia beats Paddy, people will say, oh, good win, big name, huge event. And most importantly, Topuria proves that the Gaethje loss didn't break him. I mean, he gets right back into the lightweight championship conversation. But if Ilia loses to Paddy, now we're talking about consecutive defeats, and suddenly the conversation changes from Was Gaethje just a bad night? To, has something changed with Ilia? That's why this matchup is fascinating. Paddy has more to gain, and Ilia has more to prove. Do you agree? Who has more pressure, Paddy or Ilia? And let me ask, what does the winner get? I'm going to throw that one out there at you guys. Should the winner get a title shot? Because lightweight is crowded. You've got championship business involving Gaethje. You've got Arman Sarukian still waiting in that championship conversation. You have Charles Oliveira. He isn't disappearing. You got Max Holloway remaining a major name. You got Paddy himself. He has publicly talked about Topuria, Charles, Arman, and Max as possible opponents. So I wouldn't automatically promise a title shot today, but I'll say this. If Paddy beats Ilia Topuria in a massive UK main event, good luck telling that man he needs 2 more fights for another title shot. The fans are going to make the argument for him. And if Ilia walks into the UK and knocks Paddy out in front of a stadium, Topuria is right back in the conversation. That's what good matchmaking does. The fight answers the question and creates the next story. But there's still one question left. Who wins? All right, I've made you guys wait long enough. Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria. 5 rounds, UK, massive crowd. Who do you have? First, let me say this. Paddy absolutely has a chance. His size does matter. His grappling matters. His durability matters. And if Topuria comes back from the Gaethje loss, emotionally desperate to prove something and starts hunting the knockout, Paddy can make this ugly. He can create scrambles. He can force Ilia to work. He can drag the fight into uncomfortable places. But I keep coming back to this one problem. Paddy has to spend too much time in the danger zone. Ilia's boxing is too compact. His defense is too responsible. His grappling is too good for Paddy to have an easy escape hatch. And when Paddy gives Ilia the opening, I've seen him give other fighters, I don't think Topuria is going to ask twice. All right, I've made you guys wait long enough. Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria. 5 rounds, UK, massive crowd. Who do you have? First, let me just say this. Paddy absolutely has a chance. His size matters. His grappling matters. His durability matters. And if Topuria comes back from the Gaethje loss emotionally desperate to prove something and starts hunting the knockout, oh man, Paddy can make this ugly. He can create scrambles. He can force Ilia to work. He can drag the fight into uncomfortable places. But I keep coming back to this one problem. Paddy has to spend too much time in the danger zone, man. And Ilia's boxing is too compact. His defense is too responsible. His grappling is too good for Paddy to have an escape hatch. And when Paddy gives Ilia the opening, I've seen him give other fighters. I don't think Topuria is going to ask twice. Look, man. My official pick is Ilia Topuria by TKO. And I'm thinking somewhere around the 3rd round. But, and this is a big but, if Paddy survives the early power and turns this into a nasty, exhausting fight, that's when it gets interesting. Because now we're not testing Topuria's talent. We know the dude is talented. We know that the dude got hands. But we're testing what happens after adversity. And after what happened against Gaethje, that's the question I want to answer. That's the one I want answered. So, in closing, I want you guys to comment war. If you guys want to see this fight, Topuria, Paddy Pimblett, comment war in the comment section. Now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. I'm going to turn this to you. I want 3 answers in the comments, please. Who wins, Paddy or Ilia? How do they win? And the big one, what would you rather see? Paddy versus Topuria in a massive UK stadium? Or should one of these men be fighting for the title next? And don't just drop a name. Make your case. Because if somebody disagrees with you, beautiful. Argue MMA respectfully. We ain't trying to break up no families around here, but we want to have healthy discussion, man. And remember, we're all warriors, man. So keep it respectful. If you're new to the Knuckle Game Podcast, hit the subscribe button, because we're building a community where fight fans don't just get told what happened. We talk about why it happened and sometimes what should happen next. I want to thank you guys for watching. And as you already know, keep your hands up, your chin tucked. I'm LBanger, and this is Knuckle Game Podcast.